There's a caption here in front of me. It says, creating an Africa command. The Bush administration makes the right call. Right call indeed. On February 6, 2007, President George W. Bush announced that the United States will create a new unified combatant command for Africa, AFRICOM, to oversee security, enhance strategic cooperation, build partnerships, support non-military missions, and conduct military operations as necessary. But what happened before this 2007 that led to the immediate announcement of the creation of Africa? Follow me to something that happened in 2006 in Beijing, China. Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Beijing Action Plan 2007 to 2009. On 3 to 5 November 2006, which is November the 3rd to November the 5th, 2006, the Beijing Summit and the Third Ministerial Conference of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, were held in Beijing. Heads of state, government, and delegation, as well as ministers of foreign affairs and ministers in charge of economic cooperation from China and 48 African countries, hereinafter referred to as the two sides, attended the summit and ministerial conference respectively. This was a ministerial conference attended by African leaders in Beijing. And what were they looking for? They were seeking cooperation with China, or rather China was seeking cooperation with these African heads of state, with these African countries. And keep in mind that this was the third one, which means that they've already had the first one and the second one. So this third one was actually convoked so that they can consolidate on all the things they've agreed upon previously in principle. It was during this very third ministerial that they consolidated the whole idea and concluded that China was going to set up a headquarters, a magnificent AU headquarters for the African Union. Something that I consider a humongous shame. But that is China's own way of saying, I can treat you better than your colonial powers and your colonial masters. China decided to use a different route to approach the African invasion and the exploitation of our resources, which the colonial powers have had so easy for decades. What did the colonial powers do to Africa before China showed up and became an emerging superpower? The colonial powers held sway on the continent of Africa. And so they became so wicked that they made sure that every single president, every single leader of these African nations became a corrupt, complete criminal. They made sure that no sane person would become a president in Africa. Even if a sane, decent man showed up, they did everything within their power to turn the people against that man and make sure they kicked the person out of power. You have to be very illiterate, unintelligent, stupid, and foolish, and corrupt, and hopeless to become a president supported by the colonial power, just so that when they are stealing from your country, you will not have a say. You will just be slumbering and snoring. You wouldn't know what is going on. That's why we ended up with the man we have today that they call president. Not my president, though. Look at the French colonies in Africa. Look at what they have done with leadership there. Many of the leaders they have, not, why do I call them leaders? God, please forgive me. Many of the hopeless things that they put in power over there, they always stay in power till they die. Iyadema of Togo died in power, his son took over. Look at Cameroon, look at all the French colonies. Look at the one in Chad, he just died in power. And this is the same France that is going about preaching democracy. And I keep asking you, how can you sit down and listen to Macron or anybody from Europe tell you about democracy? We are natural Republicans. Without the colonial powers, we were practicing democracy in our communities in Africa. And they came and brought us democracy, which is what we're now experiencing. They don't know anything about democracy. They are autocrats. They are tyrants. And tyranny is the only way they control Africa. all the coups that they have carried out on the continent of Africa, I'm not the one saying, you can go look it up. 99.9% of them sponsored and encouraged by the colonial powers. That's how they used coup d'etat to bring military rule to Nigeria and change the constitution that gave us federating units in Nigeria and made it a unitary system of government. Unitary system of government in Nigeria means that every single thing goes to the center. The IGR, internally generated revenues from Lagos, that runs into trillions, they send it to Abuja. Abuja decides who to send the money to. They can give it to lazy states in the north that don't contribute anything to the coffers and leave Lagos with little to nothing. All the money that is made from oil from the south, you must send all of it, not some, all of it to Abuja. Abuja will decide. Even if I, Joseph Okechukwu, decide to build an airport, international airport in my home state, I will have to go and wait for federal government to give me permission. I have the money. I don't need their money. I want to do it. They will tell me, don't do it. Do you know they can stop me from doing it?
This constitution has 68 items. 68 on the exclusive list. This constitution has only 12 on the concurrent list. And those 12 are written so nebulously, so fraudulently, that you know that the intention is to even undermine those concurrent lists.
So let me help you understand better the three key principles around and on which AFRICOM was set up. This is based on a very important document that I gained access to, and I believe this will help you. In May 2008, the United States Army War College in Kalamazoo, Pennsylvania, hosted Unified Quest 2008, the Army's annual war games, to test the American military's ability to deal with the kind of crisis that it might face in the near future. Unified Quest 2008 was especially noteworthy because it was the first time the war games included African scenarios as part of the Pentagon's plan to create a new military command for the continent, the Africa Command, or AFRICOM. No representatives of AFRICOM were at the war games, but AFRICOM officers were in close communication throughout the event. The 5-day war games were designed to look at what crises might erupt in different parts of the world in 5 to 25 years and how the United States might handle them. In addition to U.S. military officers and intelligence officers, Unified Quest 2008 brought together participants from the State Department and other U.S. government agencies, academics, journalists, and foreign military officers, including military representatives from several NATO countries, Australia, and Israel, along with the private military contractors who helped run the war games, the Rand Corporation and Booz Allen. One of the first scenarios that were war gamed was a test of how AFRICOM could respond to a crisis in Somalia. Remember Somalia? Set in 2025, caused by escalating insurgency and piracy. Piracy is one of the biggest problems in Somalia. Remember, Somalia also hosts one of the few waterways through which international ships can actually move and transport goods from one location to another. Those are very important. It's almost like saying highways of the waterways, okay? You have one Strait of the Hormuz in Iran, and most of the time when Iran wants to punish the West, they will just block that place. But now, if they block it, the other place available is in Somalia, and another one is in Mozambique. Now, AFRICOM needed to take charge there. And so, piracy and militancy and terrorism became the order of the day there, and AFRICOM showed up in that place. Remember, there has to be an excuse for AFRICOM to show up. That's why I was going to Malawi the other time, and I was told that, oh my gosh, the terrorists have also taken over the same strait, the same kind of waterways that is located around Mozambique. Why are they taking over? Because very soon that's going to be an excuse for AFRICOM to show up in that place and save the people. Let's read further. Far more information is available on the other scenarios set in 2008 2013, please listen carefully, which was a test of how Africa could respond to a crisis in Nigeria, in which the Nigerian government is near collapse and rival factions and rebels are fighting. What do you see today? This was set in 2013, but it's actually literally playing out now because it was delayed and moved forward to when? 2021. Please pay attention because this is exactly what is happening right now. It was set in 2013. It said, and rival factions and rebels are fighting for control of the oil fields of the Niger Delta and vying for power in the country, which is the 6th largest supplier of America's oil imports. So, you see what is going on. Rival factions and rebel groups. These rival factions and rebel groups are mentioned alongside the period of Nigeria's government nearly collapse. And there has not been a time in recent history when the government of Nigeria is as near to total collapse as it is now. In fact, it has almost literally collapsed. And what are you seeing on ground? Do you see southwest of Nigeria? Do you see eastern Nigeria? Do you see middle belt? What do you see there? You have different militant groups. They knew that these groups that are going to rise up would rise up at this point. The only difference is that it was set for 2013. It's now manifesting in 2021. So what then happens next? Among scenarios examined during the game were the possibility of direct American military intervention involving some 20,000 U.S. troops in order to secure the oil. So it says 20,000 U.S. troops on ground in order to secure the oil. And the question of how to handle possible splits between factions within the Nigerian government. They know there will be factions. The game ended without military intervention because one of the rival factions executed a successful coup and formed a new government that sought stability. Did I not tell you that there will be a coup? Did I not tell you that they have two scenarios that somebody told me will play out? It said that the Boko Haram overruns Abuja, or there will be a coup. And whoever does that coup, when they do it, when they carry it out, it will be successful. And the colonial powers will come into agreement with them, will come and talk to them, and actually will support them. He said that we sought stability. Someone carried out coup, and they are going to sought stability. And the powers that be will support that person or that group that will cause it. And you bet they are not going to be too far away from the terrorists. You see what is happening? So their interest is to secure the oil. Now let's go down to the statement that explains, that outlines all the three principles I was talking about. I've laid the foundation. Let's see them clearly. U.S. Army General clearly stating the principles on which Africa was set up. It says, and in a presentation by Vice Admiral Moeller at an AFRICOM conference held at Fort McNair on February 18, 2008, and subsequently posted on the web by the Pentagon, he declared that protecting the free flow of natural resources from Africa to the global market was one of AFRICOM's guiding principles. You heard that directly, not from Joseph Okechukwu. It's one of, listen, the free flow, protecting the free flow of natural resources, gold, oil, diamond, whatever, from Africa to the global market, to the colonial powers, was one of AFRICOM's guiding principles. And specifically, he cited these three things. Number one, oil disruption. Remember up above, he said to protect the oil. Oil disruption. Number two, terrorism. Number three, growing influence of China. Go anywhere you want. You will never find anything more than these three. As the reason why Africa was created. It is to do what? To secure the oil and make sure that there's a free flow of our oil and all the natural resources to the colonial powers. Number two is to the so-called war on terror, which our military and our boots on ground in Africa are not being allowed to fight. Okay, so that becomes an excuse for them to be on ground. The number three is the growing influence of China. They want to come to war with China. I've already explained to you why China is growing big in Africa. You have no idea. I read it for you before. Let me read it again. Here's a report from a U.S. Army general. His name is Townsend. Okay? Listen to what he said. He said that an African leader once said to me, a drowning man will reach for any hand. Townsend said, they are drowning in poverty and will take help from whomever it comes from. This offers a perfect opening for Russia and particularly China, Townsend said. The Chinese sometimes refer to Africa as the second continent. You heard me read that right here. A U.S. Army general is saying this. The Chinese sometimes refer to Africa as their second continent. And in order to understand more what China means by this, let's read further. He said, and some Chinese military leaders refer to the east coast of Africa as China's fifth island chain. The general said, U.S. Army general. So the eastern part of Africa, Chinese military leaders are referring to it as the number 5 of their island chains that China owns around the world. So they're already laying claims to the land itself. That's why I said to you earlier that Chinese people's ambition is very, very massive, very preposterous. It's way huge and bigger than that of the colonial powers. The Chinese people are far more ambitious in their intent on the continent than the colonial powers, who just want to pillage and stifle and destroy and impose hopeless leaders and just steal from us. China doesn't just want to take away our resources. They want to own the resources. They want to live with the resources, on top of the resources. This is the plan that China has. That's why China said, you know what? We cannot play this game like the colonial powers. We have to come from a different angle that is more peculiar to the black man. China kind of, they created a unique way of dealing with Africans. They tropicalized their relationship with Africa. Made for Africa. Just like when you make products in China. This is made for America. This is made for Africa. Europe came with their own thing. And China was just laughing at them. And now China decided, you know what? These people don't know how to make products for Africa. We're going to create a relationship that is made for Africa. After all, they make products for Africa. You use it for 1 week and the thing begins to give you trouble. And then you start praying and speaking in tongues over the product, and eventually the product dies out. And then you go and buy another one. That's it. Not the same thing. Not the same thing they give to America. Not the same thing they give to Europe. So China is already used to making stuff for Africa, unique to Africans. So they created a special relationship for Africans where they have to take money that is backed by nothing, backed by no gold, nothing. And they give it to African presidents. And these corrupt individuals will collect it and allow China to hold sway. That's why China started taking over different governmental agencies and institutions in some parts of East African nations. Look, they're already referring to East Africa as the fifth island chain. And we are sitting down there collecting and collecting. That's why Buhari is borrowing Nigeria to stupor. Only God knows what that man has done with the borrowing that he has done. Do you know that just about a day or two ago, I read in the news, he's already asking National Assembly to actually approve another 2-point-something trillion to borrow. Where is the oil that we are shipping out and selling? Why must this man borrow to buy matchstick, to buy gas in his house? Why must we borrow to watch TV and do things? Why is he borrowing to even feed? Where is the money that we are making? China saw all of this and said, wow, there's such a huge vacuum, I need to take advantage. I was telling someone the other time, I doubt if we make up to 4% of the royalty from the resources that they ship out of Nigeria. I doubt. Because remember, the former Gambian president was on record saying that when they came to his country to come and take the resources, they were negotiating, and they promised him 5% royalty. And the man said, "Are you mad? Are you okay? My own natural resources, you take it and you give me 5%. They told him that you should actually count yourself lucky because there are not more than 2 African countries who get up to 5% royalty. The rest of them are below 5%.
They told me that no African country except 3 countries get more than 3% from their minerals. And so they think that that is a rule that all Africans must accept and tell them, you are in the wrong country.
Trust me, Nigeria is going to be one of those below 5%, probably about 3% royalty in your own oil that you get. This was what was happening in Libya. Muammar Gaddafi came and took over and nationalized the oil wealth. Why was Nigeria doing well under Jonathan? Because Jonathan was not one of those people they groomed in Europe. He didn't visit Chatham House, the colonial office. He just came accidentally and became president. That's why he was able to work a little bit to see if he could nationalize our oil wealth. And Nigerians have money everywhere. And they came with their mind control programming. They came with their mind control programming and used the media. And some Nigerians who are hopeless to kick him out. Jonathan will never be the same again. To kick him out. Every time we are presented with an opportunity, we blow it. God also gave us another one in Trump. We have blown it now. Here we are today. Here we are again. Where is our oil wealth that Buhari is borrowing from anybody? If you have $1 million, Buhari will borrow from you. If you have $10,000, the man will borrow it from you. But where is our own money then? It's our foreign reserve that they are sending to this man, giving him as borrowed money. In fact, it's like they've stopped giving to him because now he also borrows from China, borrows from everywhere. Everywhere. The day that the result of all the borrowing of Buhari will come out in Nigeria, many of us will realize that we are now being owned by foreign nations, that we don't own ourselves anymore. If God does not help us, these people, their plans, you will see blood flow like a river everywhere in Nigeria. See the war games. They've already war gamed it. They've already anticipated it. They have seen it. They have the intelligence. They can make anything happen. France does not want to see any African country have so much power and prosper. It's not just only French colonies. They are even fighting the fight of others. That's France for you. It's the military arm of European colonial powers. France, they control the military of the European powers. Now they have got another US administration that will allow them the kind of partnership they want with NATO to go ahead and hold Africans down and carry out that recolonization program. At this moment again, we are forced to go back to our God and to ourselves. You know, they don't care about anything. They already want you to be depopulated and destroyed. So who cares? They don't care. We can just kill ourselves. It's not their business. They just want to make sure that they protect the oil and make sure that all the resources of Africa is coming to them, that nobody can stop it. If the rest of the people are dying in Africa, it's not their business. They've told you in this document that they want to make sure that the resources from our continent is flowing freely to the global market, to the colonial powers. Nobody should do anything to stop it. That's what AFRICOM was created. So AFRICOM, I have to say to you again, has an America attached to the name. But forget that, man. America has 700 military bases. I told you before. They created it in such a way that they have become the only nation on earth to divide the entire universe into military commands headed by different generals. So it's easy to bring them into this and make it look like it's them, but it's not them. You saw what I played you earlier. U.S. Army servicemen were flying French planes. It's France leading this thing. And now the focus is Nigeria. They want to destroy Nigeria if we don't pray. But I know, I tried to pray about this, and the Lord showed me Isaiah chapter 47, what he's going to do to these people who are seemingly larger than life now. I trust God, and you should trust God with us. Nigeria is on the brinks. I am telling you what I know. This is no longer, are you sure, are you not sure? I am telling you Nigeria is massively on the brinks. And we need God. Like I always say, now we need God and we need each other. And I pray that He will help us. Not just help us only to survive this, but also help us to play the role we need to play to be able to make this a victory over wickedness. May He help us.